welcome. I am Gimba Umar. Tonight, all is set for the governorship polls in Bayelsa and Kogi states as the Federal High Court throws out all the suits challenging the conduct of the supplementary polls in Kogi. Chinese President Xi Jinping announces a $60 billion boost for development projects in Africa over the next 3 years. President Muhammadu Buhari taps into the new Chinese deal to visit Beijing early next year to consolidate on the agreements reached in South Africa. And police in Paris seek 2 new suspects accused of aiding the fugitive suspects Abdeslam Saleh in the Paris attacks.
On business news, the Organization of Exporting Countries shocks oil markets as the group keeps production output at about 31.5 million barrels a day.
And on sports news tonight, FIFA Ethics Committee hands a 90-day suspension to newly indicted officials following corruption charges in the U.S.
We begin tonight from a federal high court in Abuja that struck out 5 cases bordering on the December 5th supplementary governorship elections in Kogi State. Justice Gabriel Kolawole said that the federal high court has no jurisdiction to adjudicate on the issues raised in the 4 cases. He said passing judgment on the relief would mean usurping the powers of the governorship elections tribunal.
The coast is now clear for the Independent National Electoral Commission to conduct the supplementary governorship election in Kogi State. Justice Gabriel Kolawole delivered the much-expected judgment. He held that there was no dispute in the fact that Governor Idris Wada scored the second highest number of votes and that James Faleke was having a joint ticket with the late Abubakar Audu and that they were coasting home to victory when Prince Audu died. The judge also noted that from the undisputed facts, the Kogi State governorship election had been substantially conducted by INEC, and by that, the only appropriate place for aggrieved contestants in that election to ventilate their anger when the election is finally concluded is the State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal. Justice Kolawole said it would amount to an exercise in futility for the court to go into the merits of the 5 cases when the facts supplied by the plaintiffs have proven that the matter was an election matter which can only be adjudicated upon by an election tribunal.
The judge declined jurisdiction, even though we felt it's a constitutional matter. But fortunately, too, he said that this is a novel issue of very, very serious constitutional importance.
The court should interpret Section 180 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to determine whether the election, which was declared inconclusive by INEC, was conclusive or not conclusive.
Justice Kolawole said the hands of the court are not tied, but that the court cannot go into the merits of the 5 suits because of the glaring facts that the court has no jurisdiction. Lawyer to the All Progressives Congress applauded the verdict of the court.
This honorable court, under section 251 of the 1999 Constitution, is only empowered to determine matters of pre-election matters only. So this, by the position of this, it is only election tribunals established under section 258 of the 1999 Constitution are empowered to listen to matters or issues or events that took place during or after election.
3 other plaintiffs, Johnson Usman, Emmanuel Daiko and Emmanuel Ibokwe, had also in separate suits asked the court to conduct a fresh governorship election in the state.
In the meantime, the Nigeria Police Force says it has put in place adequate security arrangements to ensure the Kogi State supplementary elections is conducted peacefully. Speaking in Lokoja, the state capital, the Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Area 8 in Lokoja, Tankolol, said the police force will have over 10 police officials at each of the 91 polling units on election day.
The police is fully prepared. We have made and perfected all our arrangements. All the polling units, the collection centers have all been fully covered by enough personnel. And there's no cause for alarm. We expect the good citizens of Kogi State who are going to conduct the election at the various places to come out and exercise their franchise. At every polling areas where we have patrol teams going around all these polling units to assure the people of their safety and the safety of their votes. For the areas where we are having election, we ask people who don't have anything doing around that area to keep up. In a short, there are restrictions on movement in those areas.
It's D-Day tomorrow in the Bayelsa governorship elections, and preparations are in top gear as residents in the state get ready to head to the polls. Security operatives have stepped up measures to ensure the safety of votes while maintaining law and order. Our political correspondent Seun Okimbaloye, who is in Yenagua, now reports.
Last batch of deployment. Out of the over 10,000 policemen sent to be deployed for the Bayelsa governorship election, the men are in high spirit to move to the locations of their assignment for Saturday. Some of them get their final briefing and motivations from their superiors as the police headquarters in Yenagua is busy unusually. Soon, the men began to move out. On the other side of town, the military is briefing journalists. Here at the headquarters of the Operation Polo Field, set up to secure the Niger Delta region, but the election in Bayelsa State has extended their responsibility.
Following a tip-off, our troops on patrol arrested 5 suspected political thugs in their hideout at Okaka area of Yenagua, Bayelsa State. They were arrested while in possession of 136 hand grenade, 2 empty AK-47 rifle magazine, 1 pair of military uniform, a pair of combat boots, a bag containing personal belongings. Preliminary investigation is still ongoing. The arrested suspects and recovered arms and ammunition will be paraded to you once we finish our preliminary investigation.
Securing the region might be a larger task, but the election, the commander highlights a plan of his men.
We have taken all necessary measures to ensure the waterways are safe. We are intensifying our patrols of the waterways and even the vehicular and foot patrols on land. Right now, we were involved in the movement of election materials. As of yesterday, we provided security for the INEC officials to move electoral materials to the local government headquarters. And our job is strictly restricted to keeping the waterways safe and making sure there's no breach of security.
After the briefing, the commander shows journalists some of the ammunition seized from the suspects. According to him, investigations are ongoing, and in the coming days the suspects will be paraded and more of what was seized from them will be reviewed. Bullets and ammunitions are being seized by the Nigerian military just few days before the election, which shows just how critical this election is for the people of Bayelsa State and for the country at large. Well, it brings to the fore the fact that security is a major concern in this election, but the military has assured that all is set for them to make sure that anyone who is planning violence will be stopped. From the Operation Polo Sheet headquarters in Yenagua, Bayelsa State, Seun Okimbaloye reporting for Channels Television News.
In the meantime, the Deputy Inspector General of Police, Hashimu Arugungu, who is in charge of the Bayelsa governorship elections, has been speaking about the deployment and preparations of his men ahead of tomorrow's exercise. Mr. Arugungu, in an exclusive interview with our political correspondent Seun Okimbaloye, says that over 14,000 men deployed for the exercise have been adequately empowered to ensure peace during the elections. He says the restriction of movement will be strict and will be put in place, and those found wanting will face dire consequences. Let's now hand you over to Seun Okimbaloye, who is in Yenagua, to update us some more about the preparations there. Seun, it's on to you now.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Gimba. And I have the INEC National Commissioner, Lawrence Uwuruku, joining us on the news at 10. Thank you so much for joining us on the News at 10.
Thank you.
We know just how important this election is for the nation, for the people of Bayelsa State. We know just how critical this is for us all. But tell me, is INEC ready for this election?
Yeah, Sean, we are fine to move, fine to go. We've fully mobilized to the racks now. I'm just coming from various racks within Yenego now, then everything is set. In other places like Ekeremo, that's where we have a little hitch, but before morning it will be fine. But in other places we're okay.
When you say hitch, what exactly do you mean?
When they say?
When you say hitch.
Okay, in terms of the number of security men, because the people cannot move without a security man.
We know that there are a lot of waterways around Bayelsa State. The terrain is slightly peculiar. Tell us just how you're going to overcome this challenge, because we know logistics is usually a major problem.
Yeah, we have hired a number of boats. We have hired a number of even gunboats to move to the creeks and water areas. So we don't have much hitch there. But the only place is Ijo South. That's where we need a number of boats. So they have been ferrying them to the area, their racks this night, and it will be completed before maybe 2 o'clock this night. It will be completed, and we'll be ready to go by morning.
Just tell us before we allow you to go.
Yes.
A lot of eyes are on INEC for this very important election. We know you conducted Kogi election in the last 2 weeks, and they are going for the supplementary election.
Yes.
But again, the issue of movement of INEC ad hoc staff
Yes.
and the materials are the sensitive materials on the ground. And tell us how many of your men are on the ground, especially the senior officers.
Yes. In fact, all the men and material needed for the elections are on the ground. The sensitive and non-sensitive, then the ad hoc workers, they're all on the ground. We don't have problem with them. What we have problem is moving from one creek to the other, crossing the rivers, the number of boats needed to ferry the people across to one area. So we still have some people to move, especially in the South.
So you're having issues with the terrain?
The terrain is the problem.
In
some of the waterways, that's the terrain. But we are conquering it. Right. We're okay with it.
All right. Thank you so much. I wish you the best in the conduct.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Lawrence Nwodoko, National Commissioner of INEC there. Gimba is back to you in the studio now.
Brilliant. Our correspondent Sheil Kimberloy in Yenagoa for the elections expected to begin tomorrow. In part 2 after the break, we'll be joined by Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Paul Ananaba, to examine the Federal High Court's judgment striking out all cases concerning Saturday's elections in Kogi State. Stay with us.